Greetings everyone, Al Cox here with you for another video. Hope everyone is blessed and blessing others. This is a star of one of 3 mowers I done a video on where I evaluated the said mowers. I have successfully fixed the other 2 and saved them from the junk pile. Really thick deck on that one. It's stamped pretty good anyway. It's a 3.5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton. Let's see if it's got any spark. We're going to use our spark tester. Actually, I'm seeing no spark there. None at all. Determined that the 20-inch Craftsman over here has no spark to it, so with no spark, it's not going to run yet. We got this one to start. This Southland, I'm sorry. This is a Southland lawnmower made in Selma, Alabama. Who knows when? It starts and runs, but it's got a problem with the pull cord. And the newer Craftsman, the red one over here, we have determined it'll start and run, but there's a problem with the fuel delivery. It's either a clogged air filter or a carburetor, and I'll do videos on these as I fix them. Now finally I'm getting to this Sears. This is at my best guess from the early 60s. It is a 20-inch mower with a fairly stout heavy deck. It has a 140cc 3.5 horsepower Briggs and Stratton 4-stroke engine. So I'm looking around on eBay to check this engine out, and I found this one. It's a new old stock one of these engines being offered for $400. Of course, that makes my engine worth $200 by itself. So yeah, we gotta get some fairy dust sprinkled on this thing, right? I love the front look of these machines. I've always thought I'd like to paint one like white shark's teeth with blood on the front of them. This one has seen its share of use. It was abandoned in an old barn, so I grabbed it with the permission, of course, of the owner. Thanks to Jim for making this video possible. It was generally dry in there, so that helped preserve it a little. I'd venture to say this unit has not been ran in many years. There are a few repairs in the front's the only thing I can really see wrong with it, and one little hole here in the top of the deck. But the repairs are on both sides of the front. One done really well, I must say. Looks like the frame cracked. And on this side, the repair may have been a little hurried, but it works. Overall, it's in a little rusty and crusty condition. We call that patina, right? But likely usable. In the diagnosis video, we discovered the mower has no spark. This unit will have the good old-fashioned points and condenser system, I would say. So that could need attention considering it's been dormant a good bit. The wires for the ignition system may be losing their insulation and grounding out, or they may be compromised somewhere. The coil or the magneto could be a problem also. We had mowers similar to this back when I was a kid, and lots of times it was a matter of cleaning the debris out of the crevices and cleaning it all up real good. Let's get that cover off there and take a look and get it off and see if anything looks suspicious or jumps out of us or seems out of place. And if we have to, I'll get under that flywheel and we'll look at the mechanics of the ignition system. I'm going to remove this air cleaner just to get it out of my way here. I want to look at it anyway. Actually, that air cleaner looked fairly clean. Huh. Actually, it's really clean in there. Huh. Check that out. This is a 7/16 socket. I think I may leave that cable attached for right now if I can get away with it. Right here you'll have a bolt right up under this starter. Next we'll need to take a 5/16 socket and take this oil fill holder loose here. Take that out of there. Then we got 7/16 bolt right here to take out. Then our cover should lift off of there. Take my throttle cable loose there. Okay. Well, someone's definitely been here before me. I already see some questionable stuff going on here, so I'm gonna remove this coil so I can inspect this wiring a little more closely. Maybe even getting an arc right there for that matter. So may want to put some heat shrink on that. This is a 1/4 driver. This is a 5/16. Just gonna pull that out of there. Let me just try to keep that out of the way for now. Let's see if I can show you some of what's going on here. For one thing, we have somebody's wrapped some kind of blue tape around that wire right there that goes to the diaphragm over here, to this plate diaphragm, and that's your kill switch wire actually. Actually too, I was looking at this real close. I've got another compromised place right there, if you can see it. So there's a couple of compromised places, and if you look at this wire, you can see the bare wire right there. See if I can get it to cooperate with me here. Okay, I think I got that little section repaired. Now I've got to do this one right here. Okay, I've taped up those bad sections of wire. I'm gonna stick that coil back on there and just by out of some miracle maybe see if we got any fire. All the texts say use a business card. Let's see what's going on. Okay, that's that one. All right, I think we're about right. Okay, we're going to be taking a spark tester. You can get these at any auto parts store or your local lawn and garden dealer. They're about $7 or $8. And if you got spark, that should light up orange. We'll try to get it somewhere we can see it here. I'll dim the lights and pull on it, see what we got. I still don't see nothing. Yeah, we still ain't getting any spark. So we're gonna have to come off with the flywheel and check our points out. Say 15/16, and actually I've got a large screwdriver just wedged right here against this pull rope stand here. The washer right there. Sprayed some PB blaster around that thing. Just clean it off with a wire brush. The way I done this was just with some PB blaster. Let it sit a little bit. Kind of get all your debris cleaned off around that right there. And I just took a screwdriver and started popping up under it, and it come loose. There's your key, don't lose that. You'll have a cover over the points and condenser you'll need to take off. It's going to be a 1/4 inch socket. And this cover will just pop right off of there. You'll see you got the points and condenser set up under that flywheel there. We're going to inspect all of that and clean it out real well. Yeah, I took my 1/4 inch driver and took this contact out. Really doesn't look like it's that worn down to me. So I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit better and stick that back in there. So I stuck that on a bench grinder and cleaned it up a little bit. Now while I got that off, I can clean this side of the contact off real good with some fine grit sandpaper. I believe there was quite a bit of grud on there. Spray this whole area up with some contact cleaner too. Okay, I'm gonna let all that kind of dry out some and then take some air and blow all this off. And get that spring out of there before I lose it. Okay, if you'll look, I think I've got everything cleaned up. I have sanded my points, and I'm going to check the gap real quick. It's supposed to be 0.20. Okay, looking at this, your gap in your points. I've got my engine where my points are opened as far as they're going to, and you want to gap those at 20 thousandths. Okay, to set this gap, I'm going to loosen my condenser with this 1/4 inch driver. 20 thousandths. Set that in between there. Once I get that in between there, I can just set my condenser against that and tighten it down. You can get these feeler gauges at Napa like this. Okay, let's see if our work paid off here. Yes, we have spark. Yes, I can't believe it. Good strong spark too. All right. It might be a good idea to just spray some of this Max Carb Choke and Throttle Body Cleaner in there. You can get this at Napa. I'm just going to let that sit in there for a little while. I'm going to go in and eat some supper and come back out. And then maybe try some of that True Fuel in it, that 40-to-1. We'll see if we can get it to light off. Maybe this will break free any blockages that carburetor might have. I tell you, after roast green beans, cucumbers, and mashed potatoes, it's hard to come back out here and work on this thing. But I've got the cover put back on it. I've got its closed back on anyway. It's saying, ow, I'm naked, put my cover back on me. And my throttle up there on the handle was pretty well stuck. So I put some PB Blaster on that to get it freed up. So I'm just about ready to try this thing. I've got my spark plug hooked back up. I'm going to pour some of this True Fuel 40-to-1 mix in the carburetor there. I'm going to pull on it and see if I can get it to do anything. And I can see that PB Blaster running down the cable there now. Okay. On with the show. Ooh, that's way too much. Well, let's give it a yank and see if it'll crank. Get on the right side of it here. Let me just fire the extinguisher out of the way here. Alright. Make sure I'm mid throttle here. The throttle is really crusty. Oh. I have no idea what kind of fuel is in that gas tank, but it can't be that great. But yeah, it fired right up. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, that thing is stuck on there. Let's see if we can. Wow. Oh, that's mighty yellow looking. I need to get that out of there. I didn't expect it to actually run, and I didn't know there was yellow looking gas in there. It looks like somebody peed in the tank. You look down in there, you see what that was running off of. Look how yellow that is. So I'm going to get that out of there. I'm going to change the oil, and we'll see how well this carburetor really works. Okay, it's another day and I'm back on the Sears Mower again. Now there's your lemonade after a hot day of mowing. I can smell the gas now. Okay, this is what I retrieved from it. Very nasty, smells like gasoline. So somebody tried to start this. Of course, a little bit of that's going to be some penetrant that I sprayed in there, cause anytime an engine's been sitting for a long time, I like to do that before I start messing with it too much. That's right about 6 ounces I drained out of that of nasty black crude. Okay, my blade looks pretty good, so I'm not gonna really mess with that until I need to. Just gonna clean up the deck here and get all this debris out from under it. Now that's the underside of our deck rebuilt. Quite a bit of debris left under that thing. Sweep it up here, get our mess cleaned up. Okay, the next thing on our list is our air filter, and that actually looked pretty good. I have taken some Napa 10W30 and I have kind of soaked that oil filter down some. It's in pretty good shape, so hey, I don't have to go buy another one, you know. So we'll get that top back down on there. Good old-fashioned slot screwdriver. This is a 3/4 inch socket. Take this out. Let's see what our spark plug looks like. It's really not that bad. This is an Autolite 255. I'm going to clean that up just a little bit, and that's going to save us about $5 or $6 right there. Spark plugs, like everything else, is getting mighty expensive. I've got a little bit of carb cleaner. I'm just going to kind of spray on that and clean it up. If you have to, you can put this on the brush side of your bench grinder and just kind of get some of that grud off of there. That's kind of what I did there. Autolite is a pretty good plug. We're going to stick that back in there and use it. Okay, I'll put my wire back on there when I'm ready to start it. Okay, I've already drained my oil. I'm ready to fill that back up. The way I do it, I just keep pouring it in there and checking it until I get the mark I need on the dipstick. If you look at this dipstick, it's got a mark on it. It'll tell you when the chamber is full. Okay, I think I'm about right at the full mark there, so I'm going to go with that. In some pictures of these, I've actually seen there's like a square box that sits on top of this engine, and it says Craftsman on the front of it. I wonder if this might have had that square box on top of it. There's not very many pictures of these things on the web. if you look right here where I'm pointing the screwdriver, there's a hole right there. And through there, I'm going to be adjusting that carburetor. It's a slot screw. I may have to use some starter fluid to get it going. I don't know, but I think it's out of adjustment pretty good. Okay, I'm going to turn on the fan. I'm going to open up the door so we can get some exhaust out of here. It's actually a nice day outside, but I kind of want to keep this off the ground until I know what's going on and everything. So let's see what happens. Well, it's not going to run right without more attention. It's going to have to be encouraged. Be a bolt here in the back, 7/16. Then you got a series of screws here on top. We'll pull off this boot here. I think I'm going to have to get me some new parts for this carburetor and rebuild it. It's very black on the inside too. Needs to be really cleaned out. But yeah, it's time for a rebuild. And slowly peel this. Oh, it's even stuck to it. Oh, this is going to have to be cleaned. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's nice and crispy there. Well, I've been on a search to find a kit to rebuild that carburetor, and I think I found something on eBay. I made an offer for it. Anytime they say make me an offer, I make them an offer. If you can save a couple of bucks, do it. But this is the kit I ordered, and when I get it, I'll continue with this video. Okay, and this comes from America, not America, America Power Sports. We appreciate them giving us a name your price deal on that. Come out to be about 13 bucks. Let's see what we got here. This is the kit number that I ordered. Okay, let's see what we got in all of this. This is our rebuild kit here. It also has some instructions with it there. Shows us everything going on with it. We have this new top piece too. This sits actually on top of the carburetor before the air filter. I wish I had a bunch of those. I actually lose those quite a bit. This is what they call the pre-pack here. This is probably going to have all of our new seals and hardware in there. I've had this soaking in a little concoction of gasoline and marble mystery oil for several days now. You can see all the grime that's collected in the bottom of that cup there. Hey, hopefully this is dried out enough. It's been a whole day. That out of there. Actually, that looks fairly clean, fairly nice. But we're gonna put the new one in there. We're gonna clean this outside up some here and I'm gonna use some of this to clean this up. Also have a pretty stiff brush. Now that's starting to look a whole lot better. Probably going to want to take a putty knife and scrape off all this dirt on the bottom of this. Good thing to have in your toolkit is this adjustment kit from hippastore.com. Can use these cleaning tools to get in all those tight passages in your carburetors. And all these adjustment tools come in handy for working on two-stroke stuff like Zama and Walboro carburetors that have special adjustment tools that you're going to have to adjust those carburetors properly. Get yours now at hippastore.com. HIPAA does make getting your machines to run again a lot easier. Okay, I think I have that reasonably cleaned off now. Okay, I'm going to take my carb cleaner and spray out all these passages. Okay, then I can take my HIPAA cleaning tool and get the smallest one here and just start going through all of these passages. making sure you get any deposits out that are in there. What I like is you got varying sizes of these brushes. You can just get them in there and clean that crud out. You also want to make sure these tubes are clean and free of any debris that may be on those. Now I'm going to give it a final spray out with my carb cleaner. Okay, actually I never lost my original gasket on there. I thought I'd lost that, but actually that stayed on there that whole time. Okay, we'll take some air and give it a final blowout. Now, part of your working carburetor is also this tank, so you want to make sure you also got all of these passages here cleaned out very well also. Like right there and right here. Just make sure you don't have any debris in your tank or in any of these passages here. Okay. You also want to make sure this surface is clean so you'll have good contact. And we'll just spray those passages out again. Especially right here because you got those two little passages there. Then I'm going to take some air and do a final blowout on the tank. Now this kit's going to cover some different models. This is the paper that come with it. Okay, the first thing we'll do is get our spring installed, our new spring. And you do that, you just get it around that. There's a little holder around there and you just get it around that securely. Then on my tank you got a spring holder right there and the spring that sits on top of that. Now over here I'm going to have this hook coming through. I want to make sure that I get that stuck in there. That's going to be your choke control right there. Okay, I think I've got everything lined up here. And my choke is working. You can see that lever moving there. So now I have all my mounting screws ready to go in. So the way I'll do this is to take my slot screwdriver, I'll get them all snug down and then kind of stagger tighten them up. Tighten one of them up at a time. You want that diaphragm to sit on there evenly. Now I've got them all snug down, I'll just kind of go across in a cross pattern. I've got some multi-purpose lubricant here. What I'm going to do is spray these points where my choke might stick at. Just make sure that has a little bit of lubrication. Okay, so far everything looks good. You want to make sure that this choke plate fully closes and wants to remain closed. If it don't, then you got a problem. You didn't get that spring in there right or something, then you need to take it back off and make sure that spring is sitting where it's supposed to be in there. But normally this should be closed, and it should close all the way, just like that. Now we're going to drop our jet back down in there and reinstall that. Just make sure you don't cross thread that. You want to get that snug, not too tight. They give you a few options here as far as reinstalling this needle valve and seat. But we're going back with our original assembly here, our original setup, and that has a little gasket that goes on right there. And then that's going to screw right down into there, just like that. Then we'll take our 1/2 inch Napa wrench here and tighten that up. Not too tight, you just want to get it just snug. Now I want to install my new gasket for my choke cover. And that reinstalls our choke cover. Okay, well, I think we're all back together. I hope this works. You're gonna know just like I'm gonna know. Once we get it put on there, we'll have to adjust our jet screw there and get that in the right place. They tell you to turn it out about 1.5 turns to start with, so we'll do that. I'm gonna go all the way in with it. You never want to overdrive those. When it gets tight, stop. And it says to turn it 1.5 turns, so we'll go 1 turn and about 1/2 there. Okay, we need to get it stuck back on the lawnmower now and try it out. Okay, going back on with our tank here. Start by putting this little rubber gasket here. Okay, I'm gonna get this boot back on here the right way, of course. A 1/2 inch driver. Get my throttle hooked back up here. Seven sixteenths to put this tank bolt back in. Okay, and that gets our tank reinstalled. Our carburetor's been rebuilt, and that's back on there and ready to go. So I'm anxious to see if this thing's gonna fire up and run. I'm gonna add some 90 octane ethanol free fuel. Okay, when you're starting these, you're going to have this in there to kind of hold that choke open. Okay, I'm going to get my spark plug wire back on there. I'm gonna need to work on my spring here. It somehow got detached and got out of shape there. Okay, I think I have my throttle spring reattached like it's supposed to be there. Let's try that again, take two. Alright, that's about 10 minutes worth of tuning up and messing with that adjustment screw. I'm going to get the air cleaner back on top of it and see what kind of difference that makes and do a final adjustment. I believe the more it runs, the better it'll do. Well, that's the last of 3 free lawnmowers fixed. I think I may have to adjust on that carburetor a little more as time goes on, let it wear in a little bit better, but it's running better and better as it goes along. If you want to see the video about these other two, the middle one there is a Southland, and this is a more modern Craftsman over here. I'll put the link to these 2 lawnmowers in the description in the video. So how about a lawnmower symphony? Okay, that finishes up the repair on the vintage Sears 131 91280 mower with the Briggs and Stratton 92908 3.5 horsepower engine. To get that running again, I had to service the ignition wiring, ultimately service the points by sanding them off and cleaning them out. Then there was a problem with the carburetor, so I replaced these parts here included with this Briggs and Stratton carburetor kit, number 494623. That included everything you see here with the new needle jet diaphragm and gasket set. That got it revived and running again. It's not running perfectly smooth, but these kits need a little break-in time I've discovered on some of these. So if you rebuild one of these, you may find yourself adjusting it a few additional times. Plus, that engine hasn't run in a long time, so it'll do better as it runs more. Let me know about any experiences you may have had with a Sears from the 60s like this one in the comments section. And I thank you for joining me in saving this Sears 131 91280 from the landfill. Blessings from my house to yours.